Welcome to Chalk Talk Winners Edition. Rob there, Andy here. What a great win. And if you would have listened to us on the previous podcast, which you should just listen to all of them here on the YouTube channel, it was not so bright and gleamy. That was a magical night in the NFL. There is no doubt that's going to get picked up nationally this year as one of those games. It was. It's one of those games because of the elements and because it's on national TV. And it was a great win. We can go on about a lot of things, but we don't get a lot of these. The Jets win comes to mind when they opened up the fridges. There's a couple of these moments, but Rob, this is one of them. Where
Absolutely.
The nation was watching and everybody was thinking snow and a Browns victory. What a great win last night. Great win.
Absolutely. Two things I'll say, an overused term. I'll say instant classic, yes. Absolutely for us. Mm-hmm. And I'll pound on my high chair and I'll say unwavering faith, Mr. Billman. Unwavering faith.
I thought they were going to win all the way.
Well, I had several friends and relatives quite honestly text me when we got down real quick. They were changing the channel and they thought that it was gloom and doom. But by the grace of God, we pulled it out. And man, what a night. Billman, what a night.
What a night. And there's many names that have come through.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Billman. I have to give you credit because we should go back, air the footage. You, on our show, on Chalk Talk, you were the one that called for Myles Garrett to step up and said, have a game. And man, did he have a game. Billman, you were the one to call for it. And Mr. Billman, I got to give it to you. What the hell did TJ Watt do? Nothing.
Nothing. And that
Nothing.
Was a statement game there. I actually will say I'm so happy for Myles Garrett.
Oh.
I'm very happy for Nick Chubb.
Yes, sir.
And I will say this just because I think this will be there. You know, there's a game or two that come to mind throughout the ages in different names, like Jason Giambi's home run against the White Sox one year, where guys just live in lore in Cleveland.
Yes.
James Winston will live in lore on November 21st, 2024.
Absolutely.
I mean, he had a wonderful day. He was the star. I will be honest. The guy who shocked me the most was Jared Jeudy. I thought Jeudy was wonderful in this game.
Oh, my God.
He made big catches in the snow. This is a warm weather kid. It's a kid from Alabama who is from the South. So for him to make catches the way he did was just spectacular. Big game, Jerry. You know, just a wonderful, complete win. And you could tell it permeated throughout the team. And the Steelers were stunned. And, of course, we had our typical Steeler knockout. That Tillman shot was ridiculously big. Awful.
How about Njoku? They tried to take his legs out in the end zone.
Yeah, Njoku, I'm going to go over the place here, but I'm going to do one thing on Njoku quick. Because the Browns won, and I'm glad they won. Njoku's having a weird year. He's not the same player right now.
Oh.
I mean,
he's back to missing the easy catches and making the spectacular ones.
Yeah, you took my mouth. I was going to say the same thing. He's having a weird year. That to be said, I thought the team was dead at 19-18. I did. I didn't think they were going to come back and win. I give the team a lot of credit. They really hung in there. They had a lot of gumption to get back in this game. There was a lot of moments there. There was a weird moment where Pittsburgh had a couple penalties to call, and I still don't know why they didn't take the intentional grounding, but they ended up taking I didn't understand that whole song.
I heard that today. I heard that one of our offensive linemen was declared eligible. He rubbed his, but I don't know. That whole sequence was weird. I don't think this was one of Tomlin's better coached games. I mean, on 3rd and 10, why the hell you're putting Fields in? If you're going to run that, or you're going to run that play, you're up 19-18. You know Wilson's the queen of that moon ball, and you have Fields run that. Tomlin, who's without a doubt a Hall of Fame coach, We're not going to knock the guy, but this was not one of his better games.
Strange game.
It was a strange game.
58-yard field goal, strange. In that kind of weather, it's like, why even kick that ball?
No reason.
And by the way, I now compliment some other things. The defense for the Browns on multiple drives. Big stops on the ground. Yeah. Not typical Browns. Usually they give up big yards on short yard situations. They did not yet last night. A lot of multiple stops and big stops, which was big to see.
Yep.
Again, I'm going to bring it back to Winston because I've been a little harder on Winston than probably I should have. Winston has proven a lot here in these last short games, and I'm going to take a step back and say he has come a long way in my eyes as a fan. And last night was a gutty win. There is a lot of players and a lot of teams that would have checked out. And
absolutely.
I'm going to say this other line too. It makes you wonder where this has been all year. That said, the Steelers ended up melting down. Like Pickens' antics were ridiculous. If I were a Steeler podcaster, I'd be pissed. That was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I mean, that cost him a play. I mean, that was ridiculous. Yeah. To your point, that Justin Fields coming that's going to build some angst, and it already has. You can tell.
How come on the Hail Mary, not one of those guys for the Steelers, and I'm glad, don't get me wrong, nobody jumped for the football. Nobody really made an effort. They didn't really make an effort for that football.
Well, the one thing in this game that surprised me, and I don't play in the snows, I don't play football on any kind of level, but as the game, those moonshots work, but that takes a lot of energy. And I thought the Steelers looked tired. Yeah. I really thought the Steelers looked tired in the game. Like I actually saw like guys that just had heavy legs, and that's respectable. It was a heavy snow. It was wet. It was cold. The Browns seemed to have more energy at the end of the game, and that's why I thought they won. I mean, truthfully, that drive where they scored the touchdown with Chubb, the Browns just had more strength.
Yes, they had them on the ropes. They
really did. Judy broke away in that game.
Okay, now maybe and maybe because the Steelers are such a physical football team, and Tomlin, it's well known. They don't do well on Thursday nights on short rest. Maybe because and by no means am I sticking up for the guys, but because they play such a hard physical game, maybe that they need that extra rest because they just look disjointed. And believe me, Andy, we tried to give them the game. Let's be honest. We tried to give them the game. And when we were down 19-18, everybody, we were texting. We're like, oh, boy, here we go again.
Here we go. I mean, and the Browns' start was flat. Three and out.
Yes. But you have to be very pleased, and you have to give these guys credit today for not mailing it in, but we have to wonder where the hell this has been.
Yes.
You have to Stefanski. There's some questionable decisions last night, but they all did a hell of a job. My big takeaway, we'll break this down. We'll continue to break this down. But Andy, Jameis Winston is a guy he's a guy that Cleveland will love. He is going to be a Baker on steroids because Jameis is going to be a fan favorite very quick. He may do boneheaded things and make boneheaded errors, and he may irritate some people with quoting the Bible, but how could you not root for this guy?
I agree. I can't say anymore. Again, I think he turned a page with me. Last night, it's hard for me to say a lot of negative throughout because that win's going to mean so much to me. And that's what I tried to expound on this show, and I expounded on my Instagram channel. And it did come through, and I'm glad. I'm glad Myles Garrett took it personally against T.J. Watt, and he should. And T.J. Watt's words before the game were bullshit.
Bullshit.
He trashed Garrett, and we all know it, and he knows it. And T.J. Watt's, I'm tired of him. Tired of hearing about him, tired of the whole thing. Yep. And I'm glad that some of the players stuck up for Chubb in this game. Because you know what? That's what it's about.
Stefanski saying that Chubb is his favorite player on the team, and I don't care. That was great. That was great. And back to Winston. Winston, he gets it. Andy,
I agree.
Winston saying, you're not a Cleveland Brown until you beat the Steelers. He's saying what every Clevelander sitting in the bar, sitting at home, he gets it, okay? And that's what we love. That's what we love.
And he did it.
And he did it.
That's the thing.
How about him scoring that touchdown, getting drilled? I mean, we never saw that effort out of, we're not going to say anybody's name anymore. That effort was fantastic, okay? And then, now you got to hear, Billman, I'm getting excited. Now you got to hear that idiot after the game talk about, well, the Browns aren't that good. It's the weather that, we both had to play in the weather, you moron.
Oh, Pickens is lost. Again, that game ended the way a lot of Browns games have ended in the last 25 years, where it's like sour grapes player, comments that are inappropriate. His actions on the field in the game were terrible. Pickens is that guy's a goof.
Goof.
I mean, and for Newsom to get in his head like that was ridiculous.
Absolutely.
That in the game thing. The thing I would take away from the Steelers, though, long term, that I think is a problem that the Browns created, is there's a real thing between Fields and Wilson. I don't think those two guys are friendly. I don't think those guys are exchanging Christmas cards. And I love that that's been intensified as well. Because, again, the Steelers are – and, again, everything was laid out. The Tillman knockout, which that was a dirty – the Steelers are so dirty. I call them Saint Steelers. Oh, this is the way you play the game. These guys are the fucking dirtiest guys. Yep. They do this at Muhammad Massaquoi, Colt McCoy, Josh Cribbs. I mean,
go on and on.
I mean, they've knocked out so many of our guys throughout the years. The latest one's Tillman, and I'm glad this game turned the way it did, because I will be transparent. Losing this game would have gone even further south, but they didn't. So we're not going to do that show. The gutty win means a lot. I'm happy for Nick Chubb. I hope Nick Chubb, who didn't stay around for comments after the game, gets a chance to enjoy this. I'm glad Myles Garrett spoke honestly about those comments from TJ Watt. Glad, and yes, sometimes a game changes your opinion. I haven't had many of these this year. Winston's game last night changed my opinion on him. The guy, to me, can play anytime he wants to for the Browns. He really lifted the city on his shoulders. He made sure to get that win. I don't want to downplay any other guys, because Judy's catches and Myles Garrett, and there's a lot of other guys. I thought Kamara played really well in this game. There were some other guys who played well.
How about Ifedi, the third string tackle? Our offensive line, we were worried. How are we going to stop?
Yep.
Me, who has all year long, I said we're going to get it on. We're going to straighten it up. We're going to get on track. I couldn't figure out a path for us to move the football, and Jameis had time. Watt did nothing. Okay, you know why? Because those guys tried. Ifedi did a fantastic job out there, and Newsom with the boneheaded switching gears with the boneheaded taunting penalty. I would be pissed at him any other game, but against the Steelers, so what? If you're going to do, you know what? Push and shove. Like, how about on the punt when they run our guy out of bounds all the way into their sidelines? They're pigs. They've always been pigs.
They get this glossy Saint Steeler.
Yes.
Nothing but not Saints.
And if we could do anything with our season but ruin anything for the Steelers, then so be it. That's great.
Great.
That is fantastic. Now listen, Wilson had a good game, 21 for 28.
I think Wilson looks great, and I don't know why Wilson, whether it's a Seahawk or a Bronco or now a Steeler, always plays well against us. I don't know why. He played really well last night. He looked good.
There was, to me, putting Fields in was dumb, and
caused a lot of friction.
And then to me, Stefanski putting Thompson Robinson in was even dumber, because what the hell? You're just trying to be cool.
One moment in that game. where someone lost their brain. And I'm going to get into it with someone that really well. Okay, I got to go on this rant. You tipped off something, so hold your thought for a second.
Go ahead.
The head coach is Kevin Stefanski. He's got every right as the head coach. Say, hey, you want to call different play, call different play. We're not doing that. That's not the play we're running here. And there's got to be more of this accountability, not just on the field, but throughout the head coaching. Again, they won the game, so it's not the headline here today. And I'm not going to get into it. But there's a couple times where Stefanski's got to be like, what? No. Call something else. And you got to start becoming more brazen with this stuff. You are considered a good offensive coach. Make some good changes if you have to with Dorsey. Sorry, it's not for today.
No. Andy, listen, I agree. But here's where I may think that before the game, it should be before the game. If we need a 2-point conversion, Stefanski should be telling Dorsey, "Here's one of two options."
Right.
But here's what I'm telling you, and I know who you're talking about, and I can't wait till you guys have this discussion.
Well, I love him
because listen, Billman. Here's what I am of the camp. Here's my opinion. If I'm the head coach, Mr. Billman, if I'm coaching my little kids' tackle flag football team, and my nephew's the offensive coordinator, and it's the championship game, and my ass is on the line, I am going to be the one that's calling it. I'm going to be the one that's calling. You have to be. You have to be. Now, I do understand his point. If you're living and dying with Dorsey all year long, but you really haven't been.
You haven't been, and this is your job. And again, like that's the kind of thing. Again, it's not for today because it didn't overrule the game.
Right.
But there was enough of those where it started scratching your head in there.
Okay. Now here's another quick question. Schwartz calls the defense. Obviously, Stefanski's not a defensive guy, but Stefanski. If I'm the head coach, it's 3rd and 10. We need to stop. I may say to him, Jimmy, send the house. You know what I'm saying? I may make a recommendation. Jimmy said, right.
Or prevent.
Or cover 3. Yes, I may make a recommendation.
And I think that's the head coach too. I 1,000% agree with you. Correct. I agree. That's on the HC.
Yes. I was glad that Dustin Hopkins didn't play a factor in this game.
No, and he made his one field goal that he had to make, which was good to see. I thought the 2-point conversions were very smart in this game. I guess we haven't talked about enough in this slide, so I'll say it. Stefanski needed this game. I know all the reports before. I know the reports before the game. FUBAR. He had to win that game. His coaching for his life right now. And he knew it, and we all knew it. And he got a win under his belt. This win goes a long way. The Haslams are definitely emotional owners. Beating the Steelers, a team that they are formerly associated with, goes a long way in that office. So he's bought himself some rope. He's bought himself some time. And now, by the way, here's the glorious thing about this. You now get a long time off and an extra day to beat the Donkeys up in Denver.
Yes.
They have some time now. So he's got some rope here. And again, I'll go back to, I heard a couple people say this today, and I concur. You know, the Winston factor, which I underplayed, and I was wrong. He has played really well here. Now there is a real question to Stefanski and to the front office of like, well, if this is what we had, why the hell did we not play him sooner?
Right. Lots of questions on that.
There is now. That's the other half of this conversation, and that's a real Jimmy and D question. They have
and I heard on local radio this morning, and I've heard a couple other people say, well, Winston was available and he was cheap, blah, 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 blah. There's a reason why. Andy, I mean, that of course he was available. He wanted to move on from New Orleans. He knew, to be honest with you, he knew in Cleveland he was going to have a shot to play.
I think that's just scutterbutt. And what I mean by that is those comments. Winston was signed. Winston picked Cleveland. Watson-Winston connection. There is. There's no doubt those guys like each other.
Yeah.
That played a role here. Let's not downplay that. And he's a competent backup quarterback. That's it. Local radio guys questioning that. FUBAR.
Yeah.
Winston came here. There's a multitude of reasons behind it. And again, one of them is he likes Watson. Watson likes Winston. There's nothing else to say. That signing made a lot of sense from that perspective. Now,
absolutely.
And again, he defended Watson furiously. Now, I'll say this. This is, again, these are little notes from the opposite side. DTR has not impressed me at all. And I've been not a DTR champion, but I'd like to see DTR play. And I'm not saying one play should determine a guy. DTR looks rough. I don't know what to say. He doesn't look crisp at all.
Well, first of all, he's reckless with his body. He's reckless.
I agree.
He's a 5th round pick, and what I encourage the Browns to do with him is take the Jordan Love approach and just let the kid learn. Let him sit. And next year, if it's not Winston, if it's Danny Dimes, I keep hearing all this scuttlebutt about Kirk. I think Kirk Cousins is going to cost a lot of money. I mean, I don't know.
That guy's not cheap.
I think he's going to cost a lot of money. I love, Sam Howell, but I think we could keep Winston here relatively. I think you can get a discount with Winston because he loves it here. The city is going to embrace. If we can win a couple more games with Winston and end this season respectively, I think Winston will come back. If we can play, and here's the thing. I think Winston is going to be less of a gunslinger the more comfortable he gets. And listen, here's what I'm telling you, Mr. Billman. These kids, Judy, Tillman, Moore, they like playing for him.
They do.
You didn't see that with the other guy, and I'm not going to say his name anymore.
Watson, this is a discouraging win for Watson, okay? This does not go well for Watson.
What are the chances that guy watched that game last night?
You know what? I actually going to say something that I hate to be this blunt. I don't care.
Yeah.
Watson to me is so old news. That game, I'm just going to say it again. That game was not good for Watson. There's no way you can bring. I'm sorry. There's no way. And you know what? Credit to Rob. Rob's been on the Winston bandwagon. I am not. Rob was right. Winston does make a difference. Winston makes a difference here. Winston does a lot of good things here. Winston actually gets the Cleveland culture. Yep. And honestly, Winston deserves some more games here next year. And I hope they find a way to bring him back. Rob was saying this all along, so credit to Rob.
if you could end this season respectable. Now, we could have came on here. I could have came on here, and I thought about it this morning. My young 15-year-old son is texted me this morning, and yes, Andy, there is a part of us that is delusional. Well, Dad, 3-8. We beat the Broncos 4-8. We're 1 game out of the 7th spot. But that's not, that's the dreamer in us, right?
Yeah.
We just want to end this season respectable. No more getting run out of the buildings. No more Juan Thornhill with that bullshit plays. Let's give it a fight. I do. He did apologize, and he tried last night. I respect that for him. I no longer hate him, and I no longer want to run him out of town.
Says a lot about Thornhill.
Yes.
Good for him. He didn't hide from it. He was honest about it, and I give that guy credit.
I do too.
That said a lot about Juan Thornhill last night.
I do too. So, and I told my young son, let's enjoy this. We've got a few extra days to enjoy this.
Oh, the Steelers.
It's the Steelers. And this is what you were saying this earlier in the week on our pod, that instead of talking about firing Stefanski and all the other bullshit, it's Steelers week. Steelers week meant nothing. But yesterday it started meaning something, and we heard all this crap. I had a local radio station broadcasting live at my bar, and people were talking about they were giving their tickets away to Steelers fans, selling them cheap. The Steeler towels, the terrible towels, didn't overtake our stadium, And I saw several tweets on my timeline that at halftime, the Steelers fans were holding up in the bathroom because they were cold. So Billman, and we haven't talked about this. And I'm going to bring this up. Billman, for the love of Jesus, as that game went on, the emotions are going through our head. Okay, you're nothing else is going on. The wife is slumbering away. The dogs, the kids are in bed. The dogs are. You're watching that game, okay, and I'm sitting there. The snow is falling. That was a perfect game of football. And how in the world? I mean, the snow kept falling. Al Michaels, Herb Street. How in the world are you going to convince me? And my other son was like, Dad, too bad we couldn't have gone. How in the world? That was AFC North, Cleveland Browns football. I remember my uncles taking me to those games. I remember being a little kid and my uncles coming home from Red Right 88 when they had shopping bags inside their boots because they were so cold frozen. You want to, and I understand. They want to make a Browns whole Brown city, and they want to bring more. You know, what did Jeffrey say last night? The Eagles' 17th retirement tour here. But last night was a magical, beautiful event, and to take that away from us is criminal. Andy, it's criminal. And it only happens a couple times a year. But tell me that was it. Maybe I'm wrong, but how that was beautiful.
There's certain moments, and as Browns fans, we've had to deal with a lot of shit. But I'll say there's been a couple moments where Cleveland gets charmed. They're America's team today.
Yeah.
Everyone's a Browns fan. I'm not just saying that because we're Browns fans. Everyone's a Browns fan today. The weather. And so speaking to the larger narrative, which I think you're heading down, there's a lot of discussion about this dome in Brook Park. I'm just going to say this briefly. If you put a dome in there, make it retractable. Because these are the kind of moments that make sports fun in this city.
But what are the chances that those people would want the dome open on that game?
You know what, Rob? I'm done talking about the analytics Browns.
Because here's what's going to happen, Andy. Here's what's going to happen. When that game happens, you and I aren't going to be sitting there, okay? I'm not going to be sitting there with my kids. It's going to be corporate America, okay, with their suits and ties, and they're going to want 75 degrees. They're going to be drinking their foo drinks,
martinis, and they're going to eat their caviar and their sushi.
Yes, that's not football in Cleveland.
I cannot tell you. We haven't done this, and I will tee this up next week because we have a lot more time between games. That's why I'm not for the team moving to Brook Park. And that's why I think keeping the team downtown is important. Now, I'm going to say this. There needs to be a lot more working relationships between the city and the Browns. And this relationship has gone on past Haslam's. There's been a weird relationship between the city and the Browns, since that ugly man, Art Modell.
Yes.
And this city's got to start figuring out how to work with the Browns politely. Because there is a need for an uplift in the stadium. I understand that. And
I do.
When a dome makes sense for these big things, yes. And I'm not naive. I want that. Make it retractable. Make it things that you can do it all at once. We are not in 1989. This is 2024. You can do things like this if you put thought into it. And I gotta be honest, I want both sides to start working together. Tired of these fights. And the Brook Park idea, I'll go more into it next week. It's not the idea I vote for.
Here's the thing, Andy. The Brook Park idea would help out my business tremendously.
It would actually.
It would help my business out completely tremendously. But here would be my vote. I would say, okay, build the dome, make it retractable, but let's let all the Browns games be played outside.
That's the point, correct. And it needs to be that way. Because nights like last night feels and is Cleveland, Ohio. In 2034, if there's a dome, It's not the same.
Because we do want the Super Bowl, and we do want the Eagles 17th retirement tour, and we do want
904s. Not so many.
Oh yeah, yes.
And by the way, I do too. But that's why I don't understand the stubbornness from all parties. Work together.
Cleveland doesn't want to work with them.
No, and by the way, it's not new.
No.
It's been this way forever. And I don't understand. I never understood why the city's been so abrasive against the Browns. It's been this way for 50 years. It's not new. I don't get it. I don't get it. When I studied Believe Land, I'm telling you, the city's always had something up its butt about the Browns. And I don't quite get it. I don't know. But anyways, I'll leave it there for today. I would like to talk about that more next week. So I will recap this whole thing. Save Stefanski's job, in my opinion. I know he wasn't going to lose his job. But this win holds a lot of weight. And timing's everything. Browns don't play again for a while. So this win's going to permeate through Berea. That goes a long way in mentality of this team. I'm happy for Miles. Very happy for Chubb. I'll say it again. Kudos to my partner. Winston really did show a lot. I was wrong. Winston needs to come back. Winston's shown a lot, and it can't be DTR. This has got to be the Winston show for these last few games. I'm very happy for everybody who is involved. And again, I'm not just saying I'm a Browns fan. America's team today is the Browns. Talking to people where I live, oh my God, that Steelers win. Oh my God, and these are non-Browns fans. Yeah, the team got really charmed last night, and the city did too. Good moment.
Yep.
Very, very good moment.
Here's what I'll finish with, Andy. Positive vibes. We take that unwavering faith and we build on it. And what we do up from here on out is we put the guys out there that want to play. We put Effetti out there. We put the guys out there that want to play, and we try to win some games. And I'm tired of hearing the pundits talking about drafting third, second, fifth, because I'm not drafting a quarterback in 25. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it because I don't love any of those guys. I don't worry about that. Worry about playing football right now. And let's not worry about playoffs. Let's worry about winning these games, getting the shit back together. And if anybody you want to talk about culture and all that other shit, that was a culture win last night. Let's not Vrabel and all that other shit. Yes. And I understand. I'm a homer. I understand. But let's put the positive vibes, and I'll keep saying it. Andy, unwavering faith. Let's go into Denver.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Denver. Nobody in Cleveland likes Denver.
We owe them a lot of losses.
Yes.
Out of them.
Yes. And Bo Nix, listen, and he's playing well. Peyton's a hell of a coach. But I think there's, anything can happen. There could be regression. But who knows? You take one game at a time. And I'm excited. Okay? I'm excited.
It makes the season palatable. It makes it more exciting. One more note, which we'll talk about on Tuesday. The city and these fan base, and I love the Browns. I'm a Browns fan. You are too. I'm tired of the fascination by the draft of this fan base.
Oh God!
We make it into a Super Bowl. I think it's. We need to fix that. Oh God! It's a big Mario question mark.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I would not involve your energy into that. Yes, in May and April, but until then, oh my gosh, this energy that goes to the draft is just—it's been this way for. Ever.
Well, because for a long time after we came back from purgatory, we had nothing else to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So
it's our Super Bowl. It is our Super Bowl. Chalk Talk is on for Specialty Steelers. Comments, please. Go see our good friend Rob. Give him a hug at the Fairview Tavern. You can't hug me yet because I'm in Connecticut, but I'll be around and you can give me hugs in person too. Please comment, share, subscribe, all everything else. I'm glad the Browns won. Obviously, I'm always glad when the Browns won, but it's really cool walking around today, talking on Brown fans, saying, hey, that was a great win for you guys. That's fun. This makes days like today fun. It's amazing. When the Browns win.
Victory Friday, baby. Victory Friday.
And for a whole week, and again, can't say this enough. I study sports for a living. It's not the Cardinals. It's not the Titans. It's the Steelers.
Yes,
to
sir.
beat them like that and have Pickens have a meltdown and Wilson's having a tantrum as Fields is in the game. Wonderful theater.
We love it.
Wonderful theater. Rob
We
there,
love it.
Andy here. Have a great weekend. Be back here Tuesday.
Bye-bye.